We are back with star of TV and film Jocko Sims. So excited to have you. And he is here along with writer and director Andy Billman, which I'm very excited to have you here, Andy. They work together on a very cool docuseries I want to talk about. It's premiering tomorrow night at SeriesFest, which is huge. And it's called My Father, Dick Allen. Let's take a look.
My father would say, I can play with them guys. I don't need to validate that.
Dean Chance now faces the dangerous Philly slugger. But Allen connects solidly, and there it goes. It's way, way back. It's a home run.
Dick Allen totally rewrote my comprehension of what humans could potentially do.
A trailblazing star from a small town.
Dick said in the first grade, I'm going to be a Major League Baseball player.
Dick had a son named Richard Allen Jr. His father wasn't just a great ball player, he was his hero. This is a film about Doobie's quest to secure his father's rightful place among baseball's immortals.
He said he left home at 18 to get his mother a house. He did that, and this is a stamp. Job well done.
Job well done indeed. Andy, this series is told a bit differently than the typical sports documentary. By the way, I love sports doc. I'm not an athlete, but I like watching them on TV. Share why this is a little bit different.
I think it's different because Dick represented a time, like I'm a big fan of Mad Men.
Oh, yeah,
and he definitely is a part of that era where there's a lot of on the field, off the field stuff going on. And unfortunately for him, the civil rights era was really going on. So he experienced a lot of hardship that was not fair to him. So I think the essence of the story is great player, sculpted, a big power guy. But what I learned from doing 30 for 30 for so long at ESPN is
that's one of my favorite series, by the way.
Thank you.
I love 30 for 30.
Worked there from 09 to 18.
Oh, wow.
And so the biggest thing I learned, there's a bigger story than on the field.
Yeah.
So it's not just a bunch of highlights. We get into what really made Dick so special.
That's amazing. And that's the way I want to see it. I want to see like a whole 3D version of this. Andy, Dick Allen was a very complex figure. You can say he was what we call misunderstood.
Yeah, I agree.
How did you go about telling the story of the whole person, like I said, and how he was misunderstood? Because that's not easy to do.
It isn't, but I think you just have to show the flaws and the positives. I mean, Jocko and I talk about this a lot. We all make mistakes. And at the same,
I make mistakes.
I do too.
Okay. Everybody?
Me too.
Everybody? Okay.
But I just think the important thing is, at a time in the 50s and 60s, when he was growing up from a small town in Pennsylvania,
Oh, wow.
when you're getting thrust into situations like you get drafted by the Phillies, a lot of pressure there.
Yeah.
You have to perform at a high level. And then in 1963, you're forced to go to Little Rock as those civil rights era is really at its peak. Wow. So he's going there, did not want to go.
63.
63.
Wow.
And so, he faces the Klan, he's facing national white racist. So he goes up against a lot. And oh, by the way, we want you to hit the ball very far.
Yeah, right.
And so his first ever game in Little Rock, he drops the fly ball. In his first ever play, he did. But how did he respond? 2 doubles, gets the game-winning hit, they win the game.
Oh, wow.
So Dick overcame a lot of things. And what I love about sports is we need to highlight people like this because he's bigger than the game. His stats are tremendous. But think about that. And by the way, he would sleep in a funeral home some nights.
Wow.
Like he didn't get fed dinner some nights at certain restaurants because of what was going on in the South.
Sure.
Lots to overcome.
63 in Little Rock, that is terrifically hard, unbelievably hard. Jocko, you were the narrator,
Yes.
not only a fake doctor, but a narrator here. What was it about the project that resonated with you, other than like your booming bass voice?
Yeah, well, thank you. There's a lot of historical sports figures who dealt with adversity.
Yeah.
But there's something about Dick Allen. His story was unique and resonated with me. And one of the things that was interesting to me that he told me about was when he was in Philly, all of the fans would boo him. And the Philly fans, his own team would boo him, especially when he's out in the outfield. And he would wear his batting helmet out there because they would throw pennies at him and stuff. So, and then he would go from there, go at bat. They're booing him. He'd hit a home run, and they're cheering.
Oh my
I mean, just the bipolarness of all of it is
Totally.
just incredible. So I think he's a big inspiration, not just for people of color, but for everybody to be able to deal with that.
It's like fair weather fans right there. It also reminds me a little bit of like, you know how they said to LeBron, just shut up and dribble?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's
fair
like,
point.
it's just like, there's so much more to that human and athlete there, and I can't imagine the trauma that was going through his head. I can't believe he wore a batting helmet. Andy, why do you think the story of Dick Allen is a story that needs to be told, especially right now?
Well, I just think you need to hear stories like this to what Jocko just referenced, what I was referencing earlier. He's misunderstood.
Yeah, right.
His cast. I think people can learn too sometimes in these kind of stories of like, here's a guy He played for the Dodgers, Philly, big cities. And what did he do? He always went back home to Wampum. Is that's where he felt a real connection to. And I love stories like that, where he's very authentic. And Dick was very authentic. He had no problem being himself. He was not a bragger. He was not, and typical of today's athletes, and there's nothing wrong with it, they go on Instagram and promote their stories.
Yeah.
That's not Dick Allen.
No.
Dick is just not a guy who does that. So you need to tell these stories because he has passed, but even if he were alive, he would never tell a story
Right, he
like
wouldn't
this.
tell it himself.
He would be very, in fact, someone asked me a great question last week at one of our panels. How would he take this? I'm like, I think he'd actually be very shy.
Really?
I don't think he would like this attention. I think he would love to have a story told. I don't know if he'd be comfortable doing all these things we're doing.
Wow. He had to have a lot of self-control. That's
Yeah.
what I think is hard about that. You're both independent filmmakers. I have to ask you one sentence, and it has to be one sentence. Why is it so important to support independent film and filmmakers? Take your time, not too much time, but one sentence. Jocko?
We are the future.
Ooh, that was good.
It's nice to tell unfiltered stories
that's
without filters.
Oh, bravo. I got chills, y'all. That was. I thought you were gonna be like, because we're good. That was really good. That was excellent. So get your tickets to SeriesFest, as I said, and catch the premiere of My Father, Dick Allen. It's going to be an amazing story. It's tomorrow night. It's written and directed by yours truly, Andy Billman. And no, you call me Troy if you want. I get that. And narrated by Jocko Sims, of course. For info about the series, go to dickallen15film.com. If you want passes and tickets, go to seriesfest.com.